Hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Unpopular Opinions with me, Randy Prizzle. How you guys all doing out there? Everything good, sway, crispy, irie? But let's get on to the episode for today, Unpopular Opinions. If you're feeling this episode or any of the previous episodes on the channel, you know what to do below. Show your boy some love and all of that. But let's get on to it. Being rich and humble is so rare. Now I do believe if some people obviously are instilled with the mindset to work hard, play hard, like the song, work hard, play hard, you know what I mean? If they instill that in them, then these people will have the sensibility to know that, hey, working hard and playing hard is going to make you more humble. You know what I mean? When you've learned, obviously, the background, the beginnings of how your parents got started, then you will probably have an idea of, hey, this is the route I need to take. Show people some kindness and some care and show them that, hey, I'm not total a-hole. Do you know what I mean? I'm more someone who's going to be respectful and understand what society is all about. Do you know what I mean? Because some people could just throw their money and go, hey, look at me, do the Scott Disick thing, pushing the money in the mouth and all of that. But I do agree that some people should learn the ways and the values from their parents, because obviously if their parents have been in that situation where they are humble, where they are approachable, where there are people that are going to be like, hey, this is what it is, this is what I'm about. The money doesn't define me. What defines me is how I treat people. Now, some people, if they are rich, will probably think, well, look at me, I'm rich, bitch. I don't need to really tell people anything. I could do what I want and they have to bend down and, you know what I mean? Show me love. You know what I mean? Like the Robin S song. You got to show me. No, I don't think that's the brightest thing to do. Certain people, if they're up their own, then you need to tell them to go. You know what I mean? It's literally like the JoJo song. Get out right now. The end of you and me. It's the end of all of that. You ain't got time to be dealing with those people. But anyways, I do agree to some extent. If obviously the parents are people that are very humble, then those kids will learn to be very humble. Do you know what I mean? Of how they made their money, how they made their movements. But certain people, it depends. I think obviously if you send them to like boarding school and that, some of them get the wrong idea of the stick. Boris Johnson settings, doing pigs' heads in and all of that. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, let's move on. Next one. We should stop normalizing shitty behavior just because it's funny. Well, I do agree that sometimes people who misbehave and act a fool, like the Ludacris song, do need to be put in their place. You know what I mean? I do agree that some people, just because they think they could talk to you anyhow and say anything to you, think that it's fine. It's not fine. You know what I mean? They do need to be told about themselves. If you're acting like an absolute hole of a camel or all of that, then you need to be told what you are. Do you know what I mean? And I do think that, you know, the behaviors of some people do need to be checked. If it's not checked properly, then you need to really go and check them. You know what I mean? Check them and tell them, listen, I'm not throwing checkbooks at you. I'm not giving you all of my money. I'm not treating you like you're someone that deserves all of that plaque and that respect, to be treated like you're up high in that, like you're in Beyonce settings or whatever. You're not. Do you know what I mean? And the thing about that is that behaviors like that do need to be shut down, like the Skepta song. That's not me and it's shut down. Ring Ring, shut down. Fashion Week and it's shut down. Went to the show sitting in the front row with the black charity and it's shut down. Just shut them down. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. People are getting worse and nobody cares. Well, I think if you're talking about general behaviors of people, then I think some people, listen, I think the younger generation nowadays are quite tapped. And why I say that is because there's a lack of respect for the old school ways, in terms of where certain people can get really, you know what I mean, considerably acting like an idiot when certain things don't need to be acting up the way that they're acting up to. So I do think also the woke culture nowadays as well. People are quick to want to cancel people just because people have an opinion or say certain things that they don't like. Do you know what I mean? I just think That's backwards behavior, backwards mentality from some people. I do think some people can just act a fool and think like it's fine. It really isn't. But you know what I mean? The culture nowadays is like, we do what we want, we do how we want it. No one can't tell me nothing. Do you know what I mean? But I think some people generally just have a stick up their backside where they think that they're God's gift to this world, that they think they can act anything and they're just people just going to bend down and bow down to them like they're the Queen or the King of England. You ain't none of that. Do you know what I mean? But anyways, let's move on to the next thing. Most people don't really give a crap about others. We've got another thing here, which is going on this theme of people and crap and whatever. But anyways, I just think some people generally don't care if obviously you have problems. You know what I mean? I think if you have problems, they say go and sort it out yourself. You don't really need to talk about it. But I do think there are people out there that do care. There are people out there that literally say, okay, if you're suffering from something, if you're hurting somewhere, I feel bad for you. Do you know what I mean? But then again, if someone is pitying you too much, you tend to think that person is being a bit of a, you know what I mean, a try-it-all. You know what I mean? Where they're just trying to just be someone that's very, you know what I mean, unbearable, let's say. But I do think some people just don't care. I think the culture now is, if people have hurt you before or people have done something, you generally don't care. You put up a wall and you're not going to allow people in. You know what I mean? But I think it's more of the case of how people have treated you in the past. If people have treated you bad in the past, your walls are going to be very high. You ain't going to want to allow people in. You know what I mean? And it's going to be very difficult for you to accept people when they're acting like an idiot. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll be like, well, you do one thing, get out, don't want to know anymore. So that's just generally it. Last one we come to. Constantly saying everyone is beautiful is harmful. I do think sometimes there is a way of like, you would tell someone certain things without being very harsh. You know what I mean? Because obviously, if you're going to tell someone the truth, be very mindful of how you say the truth to that person. Because, listen, people say words can't bring me down and that, but the Christina Aguilera stuff, whatever. Look, words do bring people down. This generation now is a lot more sensitive than the previous generations. So you have to be quite mindful how you put certain things. You can express them to people, but you have to express them in a way where you don't go overboard, where you don't try to actually break down that person's character. You know what I mean? I don't think, not everyone is beautiful. Even people who are beautiful have ugly personalities. Inside of them is disastrous. You know what I mean? Someone taking a crap in their mouth and it's just bad. Do you know what I mean? All of that comes out when they're spewing stuff. Do you know what I mean? So I do think sometimes it's a matter of watching words and that. But that's what I think on that. And that's my opinions of the unpopular opinions for today. But what are you guys' thoughts on that? If you want to put your comments below on that one, you can, or you can keep them to yourself. Don't usually say that, I did that today. But that's it, guys. And thank you guys for checking out this episode. You know what I usually do when I finish? I'll react and I'll give my opinions later on.